So we're going to jump back into Peter Sewell's testimony to the Post Office Horizon IT inquiry, and he's told again by someone in his team, so this is the numerous times this is being raised with Peter Sewell, who's in charge of the team that's providing witness statements to the Post Office for both criminal and civil court cases. He's told about a catastrophic weakness in the audit data. Not only does he seem to not be able to interpret the words that he used at the time, but there also seems to be an issue that's raised that almost seems unspeakable. They're not really willing to write down, or the head of security doesn't seem willing to write down the full details of it, and kind of leaves a lot of missing gaps and dots, which he doesn't appear to remember. But he's asked, was there an issue that was so big with Horizon that was almost unspeakable that you're unable to commit to writing? Let's jump into the inquiry.
Can we please now turn to FUJ 001-55373? We're now in December 2008, 1st of December. An email from Penny Thomas to yourself. Please find attached my weekly report. So it seems as though she is sharing with you a weekly report. As you'll see, no work has been undertaken in the audit room this week as a result of the ARQ OLA may again be breached as a result of my absence from the office. So it seems as though she wasn't in the office that week.
Surely this shouldn't all rely on one person, such an important agreement. I think we saw another document was worth £850,000 a year. Surely there should be a team of people on this.
But she says as follows. Also, as a result of Steve Evans and Alan Holmes' note concerning the audit CP and the witness statement content, I do not believe we should send any further standard witness statements until we have the chance to discuss what was said last week and the implications. I currently have 3 outstanding. So she, at that stage, raises quite serious concerns about the content of witness statements arising from this issue.
Yes.
And this isn't something that you recall?
I would think that's got something to do with the manual exercise that was going on, the manual checking of events.
It follows the meeting where
And it's worth noting he's saying he didn't do anything to have any involvement in ensuring that was undertaken, despite it being assigned as the responsible person for undertaking it.
Note is circulated about the audit CP and the witness statement with the red highlighting that we've just been looking at. It follows that being circulated. Was this not a matter that needed to be brought to the attention of very senior people within Fujitsu?
I don't remember whether it did or not.
That wasn't a remember question. That was a question about whether it should or shouldn't have been. The question is, given that Penny Thomas is expressing concern about witness statements that were being used in criminal proceedings and civil proceedings, should that not have been a matter to have raised at the very highest levels of your company?
I think the concern was with the witness statement and what he was saying.
I mean, the answer to that is yes, he's right. Concerned with the witness statement and what it's saying. So absolutely it needs raising to the highest levels, particularly if there's not much action going on at the current levels and you're the one in charge of it and being communicated all these issues with the witness statements there. It's notable Counsel to the inquiry is changing tack now, rather than saying, do you remember this? Because he's saying, I don't remember a lot. Actually saying, having seen this evidence now, do you agree with this assertion or not? And one of the troubling things he doesn't appear to be able to say, seeing all this stuff in front of me now, which I actually see, I know that this should have happened. He doesn't seem to want to admit that.
Yes, and my question was about whether it should have been raised at senior levels within your company.
I don't recall.
It's not a recollection question. It's a question about whether you now, looking at it, think
yes.
that it should have been raised.
Yes, maybe.
Yes.
More publicity on it, yes.
And in terms of your recollection, do you remember whether it was or wasn't raised?
I don't recall.
Yes. You're being asked by the stenographer just to speak up slightly, please.
Sorry.
If you could just repeat, I think he said, I do not recall. Can we please bring up onto screen FUJ 001-55378, please? I'm going to start with the very bottom email. Same day, 1st of December 2008. From yourself to Howard Pritchard. Can you remind us who Howard Pritchard was?
Was the security manager.
Howard, some brief words, and this is entitled ARQ Service Problem. The problem first raised in SI has been fully investigated by SI, Audit and SSC. The real problems I can see is the overhead in the event checking and Penny's statement, which contractually is now incorrect.
So as of the 1st of December, then he's clearly aware that the witness statements are incorrect, because that's in his own words there. And essentially the real problem is they're having to actually check this event log due to deficiencies in the integrity of the Horizon audit data, so it's taken them longer to get to the truth. But that's where there needs to trigger a conversation with the post office saying, at the moment we're having these problems, we need to fix it in Horizon. It's going to take a lot of time and money. Maybe we should just fix it in Horizon Online, but we might need to negotiate the timescales of these ARQ requests because we have a lot of extra event checking to do now. Surely that's the sensible thing to do.
You seem to describe there to Mr. Pritchard that Penny's statement is contractually incorrect. What do you mean by contractually is now incorrect?
I don't remember. I don't remember what that means.
I mean, an incorrect witness statement is not simply a contractual problem, is it? It's a more significant problem than that, isn't it?
It's probably relating to the wording.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the use of incorrect wording, for example, in criminal proceedings, that would be a very serious matter indeed, isn't it?
Yes.
And why were you there describing it as, in effect, a contractual problem rather than a real-life problem affecting people's lives?
Choice of words was probably wrong.
It may be a choice of words, but does it imply some degree of seriousness in that you didn't see it as a serious problem affecting people's lives? You saw it as more of a business problem, a contractual problem?
I think it was the words, but I don't remember it that well.
If we could scroll up slightly, please. Thank you to that email above. Penny Thomas to yourself. Hi, Pete. Is the change proposal now in the system? It must be stressed that the current process for event checking is not an acceptable procedure. We need to consider what to do with regards to witness statements already provided. 1, when the case has not yet gone to court, and 2, when the case has gone to court. The identification of 1 may well result in questions seeking the viability of 2.
So Penny Thomas is raising some important questions here, saying that the tactical process where it is considered in the original change proposal that they could continue that, although there's issues with it, which in the watered down one they removed the issues with it. Penny Thomas is now saying, well, that process isn't acceptable, presumably due to the amount of time that it's taking to conclude. But she's also raising the important point that they've got duties to the court in cases that have gone by, in cases that are upcoming, to correct these witness statements, which they're now saying are incorrect.
So she seems to raise a very serious concern there about witness statements having been provided already in court proceedings. And insofar as there are cases that haven't gone to court, if it's raised, that in itself could raise questions about cases that have already gone to court. Did you not see that as a serious issue to be dealt with?
I don't recall it.
You don't recall that? No. Was it not significant enough in your memory to recall?
No.
A concern by a person who'd been providing witness statements in court proceedings, raising concerns about the accuracy of those statements?
Yes, I don't remember what the action was from it.
It does seem, and it's coming across as a bit of a callous disregard for the effect that this was having on people's lives and the responsibility that the position entailed in managing these changes to me.
Do you remember concerns? I mean, you had a very small team. Penny Thomas was somebody you managed. Mm-hmm. Do you not remember her expressing concerns to you about witness statements that she had provided?
Well, the CP says that.
Yes, but do you not remember it? You were managing her, you were having team meetings, you were having feedback sessions, you had appraisals.
I don't remember individual things, no, I don't.
Could we please scroll up? Howard Pritchard, to yourself. I'm going to need you to interpret this particular email. He says, Pete, as the ISMR, the change proposal was discussed and it was agreed. Can you just assess us? What is ISMR?
I can't remember.
No?
I can't remember.
Was discussed and it was agreed that the content will need to be rewritten as there are possible conflict, i.e. potential ... This will be rejected by the board. Please rewrite the change proposal and if required, speak to Hilary to get further wording so that it can be accepted as soon. Can you please assist us with the language that is being used here? There seems to be some issue that he won't perhaps commit to writing.
I don't know.
The content will need to be rewritten as there are possible conflict, i.e. potential what?
I don't know, sir.
Did you email him back and say, what are those dots? What do you mean by that? He seems to assume that you know what he would be talking about there.
Well, I don't.
Was there something so bad that was unspeakable that couldn't be put into writing?
Not that I was aware of, no.
The only thing I can think of looking at the high level is they weren't happy with the kind of weakness of the language in the change proposal. Maybe it has the potential to do this and potential to do that. Maybe Howard thought the board needed, this is the consequences, these are what we need, and needed more definitive statements perhaps.